welcome. You're watching News on the Hour this Saturday morning here on DD India with me, Nancy Kohli. And over the course of next 1 hour, we'll get you all the news from across the nation, international, sports and business updates. There's a lot making it to the headlines this Saturday morning. But first, a look at the top stories. Prime Minister Modi to address the valedictory session of Combined Commanders Conference in Gujarat's Kevadia. The Defence Minister Rajnath Singh dwells on the wide spectrum of issues affecting the defence and security of the nation on Friday. The government constitutes the National Committee to commemorate 75 years of India's independence that falls on 15th of August 2022 in a befitting manner at the national and international level. Celebrations are proposed to be launched 75 weeks prior on the 12th of March 2021. Equations being made regarding the assembly elections in 5 states and union territory. The BJP and the AIADMK sealed the seat-sharing deal. The BJP to contest on 20 seats. The Congress party to finalize the names of the candidates for the West Bengal and Assam. US Senate Democrats reach a deal on jobless aid in Biden's $1.9 trillion COVID-19 bill. The deal would scale back the level of jobless benefits provided in the version of the bill that passed the House of Representatives last week. United Nations Special Envoy on Myanmar calls on the Security Council asked to take action against the ruling junta after killing of the protesters who have continued to defy security forces at the demonstrations against last month's coup. More than 50 protesters have been killed so far. NASA's Perseverance rover begins its exploration of the Mars. The wheel tracks on the Mars can be seen. NASA's deputy project scientist defines it as a significant moment. In Somalia, at least 20 killed and 30 others injured in suicide car bomb in Mogadishu. No one has claimed responsibility so far for the blast. In cricket, India in a strong position in the 4th and the final test against England. India crossed 300-run mark on day 3. Our top story, Prime Minister Modi will address the valedictory session on the 3rd and the final day of the Combined Commanders Conference at Kevadia in Gujarat today. Earlier on Friday, the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh joined the Combined Commanders of the Armed Forces for the Vivechana sessions. And speaking on the occasions, the Defence Minister dwelled on a wide spectrum of issues affecting the defence and the security of the nation. He spoke at length on the emerging nature of the military threats, the critical role of the armed forces in meeting those threats, and the anticipated changes in the nature of the warfare in the future. The Defence Minister also expressed his heartfelt appreciation and respect to the selfless courage displayed by the soldiers during the Eastern Ladakh standoff with the PLA. And let's now go across to our correspondent Meghna Dev, who's joining us with more updates as far as this Commanders Conference is concerned. Meghna, good morning. First of all, take us through, the important agenda that's being deliberated in this Commanders Conference. Of course, the Defence Minister spelling out, the threats and, of course, what's being done to meet those threats as well. But clearly, a lot of brainstorming happening in that Commanders Conference. Meghna, if you could hear me, I was asking you about the important agenda and the deliberations taking place as far as this Commanders Conference is concerned. All right, we'll try and reconnect with the correspondent Meghna Dev in just a bit. We're having a bit of an audio problem there with her, but we'll go back to her as and when we can have that connection up. But moving on now to some other news, well, the government has taken a decision to commemorate 75 years of India's independence that falls on the 15th of August 2022 in a befitting manner at the national and the international level. Now, a national implementation committee under the chairmanship of Home Minister had earlier been constituted for the commemoration to guide the policies and the programs to be undertaken by various ministries of the Government of India under the India 75 commemoration. The government has now constituted a national committee under the chairmanship of Prime Minister of India with 259 members. The celebrations are proposed to be launched 75 weeks prior to 15th of August 2022, that is on the 12th of March 2021, which is the 91st anniversary of the historic Salt Satyagraha led by Mahatma Gandhi. Prime Minister Modi will preside over the inaugural program, and the states and the union territories will also organize programs in 74 other places all over India on the same day. The Ministry of Culture will present a specially curated program on the occasion. And Prime Minister Modi will also flag off a Pad Yatra that will start from Sabarmati Ashram and culminate at the Dandi Memorial on the 5th of April. And once again, going back to a top story, we'll try and reconnect with the correspondent yet again. Prime Minister Modi, they are addressing the valedictory session there on the third and the final day of the Combined Commanders Conference. Meghna, if you can hear me this time, I was asking you about the agenda that that in fact is being deliberated upon in this very important Commanders Conference taking place.
Absolutely, Nancy. As you have mentioned that there are important agendas that are discussed in this premier brainstorming event of the commanders of the tri-services, we can say, on national security. Definitely the main points in the agenda are on national security, tri-services, synergy. When we also talk about different sections, and not only the commanders but also the secretary level personnel are here, the bureaucrats are here, and these bureaucrats, be it from the production division, be it from the R&D division of the defense, be it also from the financial services from the defense. So all these divisions, the synergy between these divisions, this commanders conference is definitely one platform where all of this comes in sync. And when we also talk about different things that are there on the agenda, we talk about the national security on the borders. We also talk about cyber space security, when sometimes we know that what is the threat, but we do not know who is the enemy, because the enemy is invisible when we talk about the cyberspace. So definitely all these things are on the agenda. And when we also talk about military procurement, because we have seen that the budget has been increased, the capital expenditure in the defense budget has been increased by about 19%. This is after 15 years that this has happened. And definitely defense procurement, military procurement is going to be one agenda that is definitely going to be discussed today. And when Prime Minister Narendra Modi has already arrived, he just arrived a few minutes back, and just some time back at the venue at the Tent City here in Kevadia, where the conference is underway, and he's going to take part in the deliberations, the Vivechana that is going to be held there. Besides that, he is going to also address the valedictory ceremony. So definitely this is going to give one direction, one point agenda, and one additional agenda vision to the tri-services as well. And besides, we know that all the top commanders are there. Besides that, we also have some young young officers of the tri-services present there. So feedback is also being collected from them, so that, because we also have feedback from the people who are directly facing the enemy eye to eye. So definitely all these things are on the agenda, and this is the third day and the last day of the commanders conference. So we have been seeing yesterday also Defence Minister Rajnath Singh had taken part in the deliberation sessions that were held.
All right, Meghna, thanks very much for joining us and sharing with us all those inputs as far as the Combined Commanders Conference is concerned. Important agenda, like you're also telling us for our viewers. We'll of course be coming back to you and getting more updates as and when we have more details transpiring out of that Combined Commanders Conference. Thanks very much. All right, with that, let's now move on. Prime Minister Modi received another international honor for his role in combating climate change and championing sustainable energy solutions. In fact, receiving the CERAWeek Global Energy and Environment Leadership Award, the Prime Minister dedicated the honor to the nation and said behavioral change is the key to tackling climate change, calling for responsible consumption by everyone.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi receiving the CERAWeek Global Energy and Environment Leadership Award, another accolade for his leadership of the future of global energy and environment. The award is a recognition for leaders who offer solutions and policies for energy access, affordability and environmental stewardship. The Prime Minister dedicated the award to the nation.
I dedicate this award to the people of our great motherland India. I dedicate this award to the glorious tradition of our land that has shown the way when it comes to caring for the environment.
Delivering the keynote address at the CERAWeek 2021, the Prime Minister asserted that when it comes to caring for the environment, people of India are the true leaders. He said that India as a civilization has ancient links with nature, adding that Mahatma Gandhi too led by example when it comes to conserving nature. Stressing for trusteeship, the Prime Minister called for responsible consumption by all.
At the core of trusteeship are collectiveness, compassion and responsibility. Trusteeship also means using resource responsibly. If we overconsume resources, we are snatching it from someone else. It is on a similar lines that India is speaking about climate justice to help fight climate change. Friends, now is the time to think logically and ecologically. After all, this is not about me or you. It is about our planet's future.
Prime Minister Modi said that behavioral change is key to tackling climate change. He quoted the example of farming methods and foods in India, from eco-friendly mobility and farming techniques to meeting the growing demand for wellness with Ayurveda. The Prime Minister said India has a lot to offer.
This spirit of behavioral change is a key part of our traditional habits, which teaches us consumption with compassion. A mindless throwaway culture is not a part of our ethos. Look at our farming methods or our foods.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi said India has seen several give it up movements, including switching to LED bulbs as well as forging subsidized LPG voluntarily. He also highlighted the waste to wealth initiatives in the country, including in the transport sector. The Prime Minister also spoke of increase in green cover as an example of behavior-led change. In October 2018, the Prime Minister received the Champions of the Earth Award by United Nations Environment Programme. The Prime Minister was also conferred the Global Goalkeeper Award by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan launched by his government. Bureau Report, DD India.
And the Union Home Minister Amit Shah has congratulated Prime Minister Modi on being conferred the CERAWeek Global Energy and Environment Leadership Award. The Home Minister in a tweet has said, I quote, under Prime Minister Modi's leadership, India has witnessed an unprecedented behavioral change in the masses towards conserving the environment and adopting clean energy, unquote. And let's now move on, take a look at all the COVID-19 updates from across the country. As per the Union Health Ministry, 14,234 recoveries have been recorded in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative total of recovered patients to 1,08,54,128. And with this, the recovery rate currently stands at 96.98%. Now, India's total active caseload stands at 1.8 lakh today. The country's present active caseload consists of 1.61% of the total positive cases. The fertility rate stands at 1.41%. Now, according to the Indian Council of Medical Research, there are around 22 crore 6,92,677 samples have so far been tested till Friday, and of this 7,51,935 samples were tested yesterday. And the cumulative number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered across the country has crossed 1 crore 90 lakh. A total of 1 crore 94 lakh 97,704 beneficiaries have so far been vaccinated across the country. The countrywide vaccination drive was rolled out on the 16th of January this year, and the vaccination of the frontline workers began from the 2nd of February. The next phase of COVID-19 vaccination commenced from the 1st of March for those who are over 60 years of age and for people aged 45 and above with specific comorbid conditions. Now, Jammu and Kashmir Police Hospital will begin the COVID-19 vaccination from the 8th of this month for the dependents, that's the age above 60 years of serving police personnel and the retired police personnel. Persons in the age group of 45 to 59 years with comorbidity shall have to submit a certificate from the physician at the time of the vaccination besides their ID proof, preferably the PAN card. And let's now talk about the Vaccine Maitri initiative, under which India has provided COVID-19 vaccines to many countries across the world. And depicting the strong India-UK partnership, the Made in India vaccines have been delivered to London. The details of the touchdown of the consignments were shared by the External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. And earlier, the Made in India vaccines were also in fact reached the African countries Uganda, Mali and Malawi. Also, in fact, about 25 nations across the world have already received the Made in India vaccines, and 49 more countries will be supplied in the coming days, ranging from Europe, Latin America and the Caribbean to Africa, Southeast Asia and the Pacific Islands. And let's now move on and get you news from the poll-bound states and the Union Territory. Well, the Bharatiya Janata Party and the All India Anna Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, that's the AIADMK, have finally sealed a seat-sharing deal for the upcoming Tamil Nadu Assembly elections. The BJP will contest on 20 seats. The Lok Sabha by-poll ticket for the Kanyakumari constituency has also been given to the BJP. The seat fell vacant after the demise of H. Vasant Kumar of the Congress because of COVID-19. The AIADMK has already allocated 23 seats to one of its allies, the PMK, while it continues to hold talks with one other smaller parties, including Vijayakant's DMDK. Remember, the Tamil Nadu Assembly elections will take place in a single phase on the 6th of April. And all the 234 Assembly constituencies in Tamil Nadu will go to polls in the single phase. The counting of the votes will take place on the 2nd of May. And the Bharatiya Janata Party has released the first list of 70 candidates for the Assam Assembly elections. The Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal will contest from his sitting Majuli Assembly seat, while the State Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma will try his fate from his sitting Jalubari constituency in the upcoming Assembly elections. Now, the BJP, Assam Gana Parishad, and the United People's Party, Liberal, the UPPL on Friday finalized the seat-sharing arrangement under which the AGP will contest on 26 seats and the UPPL on the 8 seats, while the BJP has replaced 11 sitting MLAs with new faces. And the Trinamool Congress also released on Friday its first list of 291 candidates out of total 294 constituencies for the upcoming West Bengal Assembly elections. And while announcing the list, the Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee said she will contest from the Nandigram constituency. Now, the Central Election Committee of the Congress Party is likely to hold its first meeting today to finalize the names of the candidates for the initial 2 phases of the forthcoming West Bengal and the Assam Assembly elections. And moving on now to some other news, Prime Minister Modi will address the Jan Aushadhi Divas celebrations through video conferencing tomorrow. He'll dedicate to the nation the 7,500 Jan Aushadhi Kendra at the Northeastern Indira Gandhi Regional Institute of Health and Medical Sciences in Shillong. And on the occasion, Prime Minister Modi will also be interacting with the beneficiaries of the Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana and give the awards to stakeholders by recognizing their excellent work. The Pradhan Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana is aimed at providing quality medicines at an affordable price. The number of stores under the scheme has grown to 7,499 with all the districts of the country covered. Now, in order to create more awareness about Jan Aushadhi, the entire week, that's from the 1st to the 7th of March, is being celebrated as Jan Aushadhi Week across the country. Moving on now, the Defence Research and Development Organization has successfully carried out a flight demonstration based on the solid fuel ducted ramjet technology from Integrated Test Range, Chandipur of the coast of Odisha. The Defence Ministry said that all the subsystems, including the booster motor and nozzle-less motor, performed as expected. And during the test, many new technologies were proven, including the solid fuel-based ducted ramjet technology. Successful demonstration of the solid fuel-based ducted ramjet technology has provided DRDO with a technological advantage that will enable it to develop the long-range air-to-air missiles. At present, such technology is available only with a handful of countries in the world. The Defence Minister Rajnath Singh congratulated the scientists of the DRDO, the Indian Air Force and the industry on the successful flight test of the FSDR. And with that, we're taking a short break here on News on the Hour, but we are back with much more. Stay with us.
Stay in